it's 5:30. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's December 16th, 5:30. Let it be stated that we have Ms. Nora Garza online. Numbers?
Yes.
Hello, thank you for joining us. I guess the next thing would be discussion and action of approval of minutes. You have the minutes, Mr. Leo?
I don't have minutes, I don't, right here. No, nobody gave me minutes. They sent them, I think in the email.
The email, not it.
Did you get a chance to review them?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
I second. So weird. Do we have quorum?
Yeah, there's form of the two online.
Okay, that's this, all right.
And public comment, we have Ms. Leo is gonna.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Is that we had a fundraiser a couple of months ago, but due to changes in meetings and stuff, we had not been able to meet. With this fundraiser, I am giving the Friends of the Library $60 for whatever they need to.
The funny part was the one that was raining was more successful than the one we had the good weather for. Kind of weird.
And I also just wanted to add that for the library casita for Stell, it's already in progress. It's already in the building stages. We plan to present it in the semester coming in January. Thank you.
On to library report versus adult services.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Jose Gonzalez, and I'll be presenting for the adult services. Well, thank you for the great news about STEL. The little libraries, I went up to 10 little libraries, more than 112 books for that day. It was in the afternoon, so the picture that's over here on the side, that one's on Rosa Ayala Park, and that's a SpaceX rocket. I actually saw it up in the air on that day in Rosa Ayala. So I took a photo of it and said, what's going on? You know, I hear a bunch of booms and whatnot. And well, it was SpaceX. So I delivered books there to Rosa Ayala, and while the rocket was up in the air too. 10 little libraries, 112 books. So the pictures that are there are for Central Avenue Park, Canales Elementary, and the Sports Park. Also went to the Children's Museum, City Plaza, and just penning others too. You know, time flew by so fast. But there's just so many, and it's great to hear that people are actually enjoying these little libraries because in one of those, I had a family that was walking there it was Canales, and she said that it's been very useful for them, for her family, the little library books. So it's been great. Computer classes, we've had up to 12 patrons per class. For the next topic, we will be, for next semester in January, we'll be introducing a new topics in light of Microsoft Office. So we'll be doing something different. We'll be doing what's called LibreOffice Writer, LibreOffice Cal, which is Excel, LibreOffice Draw, which is Painter, and LibreOffice Impress, which is PowerPoint. So the city navigated into LibreOffice. So we'll be introducing that to our patrons so they can get a little bit more experience or familiarize themselves. But it's similar to Word. It's just a different name. That's all it is. And the class will begin on Tuesday, January 7th and run until March the 25th. One of the concerns that patrons have said is that it's actually compatible to Microsoft. So Libre is compatible with Microsoft Office and is backed by a nonprofit organization. So it's going to be a good one. So something new. We'll be introducing Canva, files and folders. Mango Languages has been huge, which is wonderful. Internet security, job search, and resumes. So we'll be doing a lot of something different this upcoming semester, see if that can actually bring more people in, more interest. Next slide, please. Thank you. We had our Harry Potter trivia night at both branches. Yes, we had our trivia night. We had the 12 to 25 patrons attend our event. So we had a really good response. We had our patrons there enjoying their wizards. We had the central patrons, the winners. There's me right there. And we had 100 questions and we had 3 winners for each branch. So it was interesting. It's amazing how many people are out there that really enjoy these trivias, and also they give us a lot of feedback as to what they want next. So we got for next up, hopefully we can do Sailor Moon or The Simpsons or just Brownsville history itself. So that should be pretty fun. And so we had a good time. So we do plan to continue doing these because there's a lot of interaction amongst ourselves and our patrons. So we get to know them. Next slide, please. And then here's more pictures right here. My coworkers that helped me out, Ms. Dulce and Myra. And then in the middle, we have the central patrons. We see some of them were dressed up too, which is great. And here on the left side, one of our winners, first place winners, she won. Had the most most questions answered by someone regarding to Harry Potter. So, and these questions were hard. So it was nothing like, what does Harry wear? So these were really hard, but we just wanted to challenge them, have a good time. Next slide, please. And then this is what's coming up in January, our adult computer classes, which begin on Tuesdays. And we're going to have our theme will be for New Year, New You theme for this month. So we're going to be starting out with Let's Get Cooking Healthy Cereal Bars. Easy recipe. All it has to do is cereal, maple syrup, or peanut butter or almond butter. And we'll start up the year with something healthy. And then our basic budgeting class, why not start up the new year, hopefully debt-free. Yes. And then we can start out with that and take it from there. There's a company that's coming over, our Infinite company, nonprofit, free, will be coming over and showing us the basics on how to save a little bit of money. Yes, after the December wasting money for Christmas, try to recover. Yes, a little
I have
bit.
a question on the computer classes.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody, like, I've been here for a couple years on the board and I've seen how successful they've been. I guess my question is, do people like ask for new classes? Like, is it the same people coming that have been going for like a year and they ask for new topics?
That's a great question. One of the things that happens here at Southmost is that in every class, there's somebody new. There's always somebody new. And we always take a survey towards the end as to what needs or wants, or what else are you looking for in the computer classes? So we gather all these ideas and we get together and then we see what we can come up for the second semester. Or sometimes what happens at, like, say, for example, we're doing a Word class and then they're interested also how to use Word in other formats. We divert into that class if they want. So we actually get 2 in 1. But for quite some time, we've been actually listening to our patrons to see what exactly is what they need. Because one of the things that happens a lot is that whenever I ask them, they always say that they're in need of learning, but it's very difficult for their own family or kids to help them because they're so busy. So they do find us so we can help them out. And that's why we take their ideas into consideration, and we always try to implement those for themselves and also to get more people that are also interested just as they are.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next would be youth services.
Be me. That would be me. I can go. Hello, my name is Josie Balbo. I'm the branch manager. For the youth services, they are currently working on the DIY ornaments. They already had some at Southmost. Today we're doing it at Main, and it's a wooden round ornament. So they collabed with our makerspace where the patrons can do like a yarn project and they'll have a little design on there and then they could take that home. So we're incorporating a craft plus also showcasing our makerspace area. I know I got to see some of the ones from Southmost and they were really cute. And we were letting people know so that if they missed it at Southmost, they could kind of join us at Main as well. And we had our Southmost Pictures with Santa that we wrapped up. We had a really nice group that came in, and we're going to be working on that at Main this week. So we had our regular Pictures with Santa, and we also had our sensory hour. I know for me on the sensory hour, we had a very large group this last week. It was unbelievable. But everybody seemed to enjoy it. You know, they stayed for the entire time. They got to do a craft with that. And of course, take their picture with Santa. So they had different poses going on, and our theme was the Nutcracker theme on there as well. That's the same thing, which is the sensory hour. And we're going to be having that this week. So if you guys want to pass on that information to your friends and family, they're more than welcome to join us at the main branch to take their pictures.
Have any questions?
Is there a flyer for?
Yes, we do have advertisement throughout the library, and then we also have it on our social media.
We have a calendar that we can also give you after the meeting.
Okay, great.
Next is teen services.
Hi, I'll be presenting on behalf of Teen Services. For November, we had our teen night. This was our Teen Olympics, Teen Library Olympics. We did some archery, some hurling, using library products such as of 3D filament that were empty, some rooms that we found within our building, and we did purchase some archery items. So we have some Nerf archery that you can see various people used, and then we had some like suction tip ones for accuracy, for distance, and then curling. We had win participation and first, second, third place winners. We gave out some medals for the people that did participate. This did happen on election day, so our numbers were less than what we had hoped for, but more than we I think originally thought, based on the fact that it was an election day. For Teen Thursday, Maine had intro to D&D and their teen advisory. You can see some photos there of a staff member running the session. They did have a preset D&D session where instead of having them create their own characters and start a campaign from start to finish, it was pre-made characters where they could be a paladin, a cleric, a wizard, a druid, their choice, with preset stats, and they were able to run a short mini campaign. The same day here at Southwest, we had Kaiju Trivia Nights. This was fairly well attended also. We did have a variety of very difficult questions that one of our staff members actually made the presentation, as he is a Kaiju fan. So he felt comfortable leading that project. At the bottom, you can see our first, second, and third place winners. We did share some pop figures, some comic books, some movies, books. Those were our top 3 prizes. We also partnered with Makerspace, to share 3D printed and resin printed figurines with Godzilla, Mothra, and some of the other characters. And then our last event for the month of November was our teen anime night. We showed Howl's Moving Castle, and we made felt bacon and eggs to kind of go along with the theme of the movie and some of the characters to kind of celebrate Calcifer a little bit in that. We also we didn't have a large attendance for this, as this was right after Thanksgiving, so people were still in their food comas. And they did have fun. The people that did attend had fun. They enjoyed the movie. So we're excited to continue sharing our anime. Coming up in December or just past, the first week of December, we had our Make Cookies with Friends. We made some pizzelle cookies. For Teen Thursday at Southmost, we had our K-pop party. And then for Teen Thursday at Maine, we had our Teen Advisory, and they did marbled gift tags using water and nail polish. That's it for us. Any questions?
You did say Godzilla and Mothra?
Godzilla, Mothra, Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
There's a few.
Yeah, well, I used to see those movies when they
Yeah.
came out originally.
We had, that was our most diverse attended event that I've ever held, I think, here. We had, a few parents who brought their children. We had a few teens, a few young adults that were like 17 through 19, maybe 21. And we had some adult participants. So we had a very large range of ages, but everyone had fun. The questions were very difficult. So we have discussions, we answered the questions, we went over like what the right answers were, and we made the presentation and super fun. There was a lot of gifts. So everything that you've seen on the internet of Godzilla surfing on his tail, that made the cut. A few others did as well.
Next is the makerspace report.
I'll be doing makerspace report, as Lázaro is out today because he's scheduled over for the Christmas programming at May. So basically what they had this past month was the spooky, I'm gonna say it wrong, cloche over at Maine. And so essentially, to me, it looked like snow globe. And so they were able to decorate on the inside, and that one was more or less geared towards celebrating Halloween and fall. But we did have 111 in attendance. And then for this month, theme, again, going back to Christmas, is that they were making Christmas wreaths. And so we had 70 here at Southmost, and I'm not sure how many they had at Maine, but I know they had a pretty good in attendance. But we did have different ages. They were all gathered around with different tables with their supplies, and they came up with some creative wreaths there. And a lot of their attention for the department has also been to cooperate with Children's and Youth Services this month to make the Christmas program happen. Creating some of the supplies that the kids have been using to play games and entertain themselves while they are waiting for their picture with Santa Claus. Yeah, and so again, going back to the different programs they had, they had the Exploration Theater also back in November. We will not be having it this month because, again, it falls right under the Christmas week. And so a lot of people are being out on the holidays. We'll just go ahead and resume it again in January. And then that's the ornament that Josie was talking about, the picture there, that Makerspace went ahead and created so the kids could go ahead and do it during the week of Pictures with Santa. Basically, Makerspace questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next is the outreach report.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Taylor. I'm your library services coordinator. And there are a lot of events to get through for outreach just because we had a very jam-packed October. So to begin with, the first event is our InReach, where we attended our trunk or treat event over at Maine. We had over 2,000 people attend this event, and we were able to again give out an adult gift. This year it was a light up glow skeleton mug so that our adults could have something along with their children trick or treating. We had a ton of organizations come help us. A couple of candy runouts, but we were able to get more supplies during the event thanks to our branch managers who were able to help us in regards to that. This is the third year that we've done this, the second year that we've given out an adult only gift for this table. And again, Youth Services has collaborated to create this event. It's such a huge, powerful deal for our libraries. I want to thank them for their success in dealing with that. To continue on with our Youth Services librarians, we were able to attend Lincoln Park High School and they did a presentation on reading to your babies and how literacy affects them. They were able to talk to new parents to be able to show them not only how literacy helps with building your speech patterns, but also your play and your coordination. They were able to see 46 people at this event, and this is the first time we've collaborated at Lincoln Park High School. Next slide, please. We continued on with some of our annual events, which included the Fire Fest. This particular event was rescheduled due to rain, but we were able to see over 956 people. It did turn into a mini trick-or-treating event, but we had really good placement in the front. So Gwen and Harry were able to see all of the kids and help them know about different events we were going to have, including trunk or treat that had just passed, and then telling them about how we can collaborate for costumes in the future. We collaborated for the third year with Tuvida, and we were able to see over 1,281 people. This is a 30% increase from our previous year. We were, however, further back placed. We were over near the Butterfly Garden, which was towards the end of the trek there at Viva Tu Vida. But those who did find us were able to get free books, and they were very surprised from other people that are from different parts of Texas, like San Benito, Rancho Viejo. We had a couple people from San Antonio and Houston who were down visiting as well. They were very surprised on all the services that we offered, and that we are able to give them library cards here at Brownsville for any Texas resident, as well as winter Texans. Friendship of Women also collaborated with us for their Safe Families Resource Fair. Jen and Alma promoted our online databases and tutoring to help the children different skills and not just think as the library is something that's just event-based, but also to help them learn. We were able to see 426 people there. And Autismo en Mi Vida was able to have their Oktoberfest. They have done a couple of events here where they've had their meetings at the Southmost Library. We've also helped them at different sensory events and had different presentations through adult services. So they were able to use us as a meeting space and collaborate with us through our Special Needs Advisory Board. We were able to see 334 patrons at this event. Next slide, please. This leads us into our next set of events, which include different schools. We were able to have a presentation during the BISD librarians meeting where we were able to introduce Sarah, who is Teen Services librarian for Main Branch. Her and Kayla were able to talk to the librarians about setting up tours and visiting our locations. We were able to talk to 50 of them. Falk Middle School had their Night of Discovery where Sarah and Kathia were able to show the databases and talk about the National History Project and how we would be able to help them. That was another 293 patrons. Bryce Academy had what was akin to a career day where Kayla and Lastro spoke about their different experiences as employees for City of Brownsville Libraries and what all it took to become employed with us here, as well as how they developed their skills for the library. They were able to speak to 300 people. Next slide. The rest of our events for October included community events that allowed us to get spooky with our patrons and do a lot of trick-or-treating. All of these events together was over 300 or 3,500 people. This included collaboration with our housing authority, Bubba's, who invited us during Firefest to come to their event, Perez Elementary, and again, the Cameron County Sheriff's Office. Next slide. That leads us over into November. We helped Alpha Schools host their Fall Fest here at Southmost Branch, we were able to see 45 members of their school while they had their games, rides, music, giveaways, and promoted library services here at Southmost with Miss Avery. Our next event was the Housing Authority's Wobble Gobble Run. So we were able to provide water, snacks, and a few turkey calls for them to help them promote their services there in the middle of Brownsville. We saw 118 people there, and that was their 8th annual event. They're hoping to get more patronage with their next year's event at a different part of the Housing Authority. Next slide. Two of our biggest collaborations for the month of November are all thanks to kind of smaller meetings and collaborations. The first of which we'll talk about is our Special Needs Advisory Board invited us to their first ever Boo at the Zoo for Special Needs event. So we had a couple of cursory meetings to design what we thought this type of Boo at the Zoo would need to be included and what we thought we could do to best help our patronage there. What we ended up coming out with through collaboration with Kayla, Avery, Laszlo, Melinda, myself, and Miss Jen was to have sensory bins where the different patrons would be able to find different objects within the bins, going through sand, kinetic sand, macaroni, through little garden pots to find different things to help you with your motor skills, as well as collaborate to show different animals to show the zoo representation. We also had our makerspace create small fidget toys. They were about this big that allowed you to help with your motor skills. And even though that took a while for us to be able to produce because we produced so many of them, it was interesting to show a different aspect of makerspace, not just creating figurines, but also creating useful tools that you can help yourself with your mobility for. So at this event, we were able to see 487 people, and they are planning for this event to happen next year, bigger and better. This year it was 3rd grade to 5th grade through BISD Harmony Idea, but they limited the amount of students that they were taking just because this was the first time they were going to have the event, and we had very small hours in the zoo. We had about 2 hours to be able to get everybody to play the different games, trick or treat there. Our last collaboration listing here is for the Listo conference. Dr. Cynthia Castro Rodriguez, who is the professional development and library media services person for BISD, invited Mr. Geller and I to join their Listo conference, which stands for Literacy Innovation for Successful Teaching Opportunities. Basically, it's inviting all of the teachers to take mini sessions for professional development in order to get more accreditation for themselves, to keep up with their degrees, as well as to show them what other schools are doing. This wasn't just for BISD. They also had Los Fresnos, San Benito, and a couple of other city people come in to learn different things through them. We plugged our outreach events and how we can do different tours and collaborations for them, seeing over 417 teachers at this booth. It was kind of interesting to see how many people knew Mr. Guetta, and were able to talk to him about different aspects of collaboration with BISD, from the remodeling of their libraries to other grant opportunities that we might be able to do. So all over by the numbers, you can see that our outreach for October was about 9.5 thousand people with 14 events. We did have over 4 or 5 events that we had to say no to due to our schedules and our staff levels. And then for November, we had 4 events with about 1,000 people. This is the time of year where we start winding down slower just for preparation for Christmas and all the events that are happening in the beginning of December here. So we will be a little light coming into this next month on how many outreaches we do. We have the Winterfest happening, our city Jingle and Mingle, which is a closed event for city staff to get to know each other in different departments, as well as our collaboration with Parks for Pancakes with Santa, which should be at the end of this week. All that being said, any questions?
On the BISD collaboration, how is that working out? Are the libraries, the schools contacting the interactions already, or is that a process in the making?
So with Dr. Cynthia Castro Rodriguez, she's been really good about advocating that we can come and giving us more access to the librarians. So it's been a defined change from where we were doing to now.
I'm totally aware of that because I was at that meeting, but what I want to know is, are the librarians buying in?
We have had at least 3 or 4 reach out to us after she came into office and had us set up for that BISD meeting. We had an additional 2 reach out to us to help us promote to their fall fests, such as Bryce. The Lincoln High School was another collaboration that led from those meetings with her, as well as the Listo Conference. We have also seen an increase in tours of people coming in to learn different portions of the libraries.
Is there BISD personnel or to coming in?
Yeah.
I'm just really curious on that because I set it up and I just want to know how successful it was. Our efforts were paid off, and it looks like they are paying off.
I do think that it's a definite change, and she's very open to.
You work with Cindy, and she is very. I mean, I've worked with Cindy. I'm not going to say how many years because we don't want to betray that. But we started when she was a teacher. I was a teacher, and that worked up. Okay, that's good. Good to hear.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
You said something about a history project with one of the middle schools. What was that? What was the name of that? What was that around?
So they had their basic fall fest, but we did go ahead and promote that we have access to other databases to be able to help with the National History Project. We have had one BISD librarian reach out to us about potentially promoting just about our databases for this history project. Unfortunately, due to schedule conflicts, we weren't able to do that for the first week of December. But I have seen additional schools sending their children over here, such as veterans, my daughter, and your child as well, pushing to come back and double check us as a resource, not just using BISD.
Yes, you remembered. Yeah. So my son and his partner, and we've had this past year, there were 3 kids, my son, his partner, and this other kid, made it to National History Day in University of Maryland and placed top 10 nationally. And so, yeah, it's a great thing. And it starts, and BISD actually makes it a really big deal, probably bigger than the region does.
Yeah, the Rio Grande is pretty bad, but once you get to Oasis, Kingsville does a real good show. Because in 1995, I hosted the first History Day. I'm the guy who brought it into BISD.
Oh, we're big fans.
And I've served all the way up to even the Texas State Historical Association's Education Committee, which oversees the whole thing.
Right. And so there's so many, just as examples, I mean, from our experience, Makerspace, we use some of that help, in terms of making a more interactive board. That's something that really helps you stand out. Thing about the databases is there's specific categories where you can incorporate things like historical and newspaper images, right? That itself becomes a subcategory you can compete in. Chronicling America, and I think you all have a newspapers.com.
We have newspapers,
Right.
archives, and we have a microfilm.
Exactly, and so my kid and his partner have spent lots of hours here over the years.
One of the things I would like to see, because the History Fair has always been one of those little, is if we could eventually work to maybe next year, have where we can bring in BIS, like a Saturday presentation, come in. Because you're gonna have the kids want to come and want to participate. Like what school were you at?
He's a veteran.
Veterans, and he went to nationals. So you have those kids that are gonna go gung ho on it. And that creates, because we took our son to one in Texas, Institute of Texan Cultures. We drove all the way to San Antonio, but this was back a while back. And I would like to see something like that here, because we do have the resources. Because with the History Day project, makerspace could be very useful. Exhibits are one of the most, if not the most difficult categories to do. Because it does require creating a board, doing all this stuff. I remember when we first started, everybody was doing just the small science boards. My class introduced the 6 foot because we were trying to copy what's going on up in Austin, and it does help. But you need to fill it up. Makerspace could provide graphics and stuff like that, 3D graphics, things that could be done that would take the projects to a different level. The databases could help get the kids ready to back it up, because as a history, both she and I have judged at state. We don't like to see, we've seen a lot of kids that come up with pretty projects. The kid has a beautiful project but doesn't know the stuff. And we come across with a kid who knows all his stuff and has a project that looks like he put it together last night. So if we can get the kid who knows, if we can get the kid to where he knows it all and has that would be a great help for Brownsville.
Well, as part of that, it could be, if you ever want to put a panel together, kids who've gone to state and nationals. I know my kid he loves talking about it. He's had such a great experience going to nationals twice.
And we can back it up because we've been, like I said, judges. I've judged I've never judged at the district, but I've judged at Edinburgh. I've judged at Kingsville, judged in Austin. And again, I was on the board that served.
I know our team services has looked into whether or not we can do something like that, as well as wanting to present that to different aspects of BISD and IDEA. So I'll definitely talk to you right here and Miss Sarah.
There is a market. I'm going to tell you one thing. There is a market.
Yeah.
Because when I was very active in it, I would send pre-COVID, I would send my students to the library like crazy. And they would work it there, and then they would bring me the material and I would work over there.
And just I'm gonna keep talking about this, but one thing to do at veterans, I'm sure the other high school did it too, is to encourage kids to even, because we were brand new to it when my son was in grade, is the teachers give extra credit, right? So that's usually a way in. And if they advance, let's say they medal at district or state, they can get their final exam.
Yeah.
300 the final exam. So that becomes even a bigger incentive to like really put some effort in.
Some teachers make it mandatory. I would make it mandatory for all my advanced students and available to all my other students. Because it just created a lot of work. But if they made it to district, they got their semester exam taken care of. If they made it to state, they had an A for the semester. It was no big deal, because most of the kids that do make it already have a B or an A.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Oh, I do have another question. So just curious about, I think you do a great job keeping the metrics of like people attending, different events you're at, how many people you're impacting. Just curious if you have a ballpark figure of how that compares to last year.
For October, last year were about 5,000. This year we're at past 9. So definitely an increase. Our November, we were again a little bit up, not 1,000 up, but a little bit up. But again, this is around the time we start slowing a little bit down due to library program. So we are still on path to make it past our numbers for last fiscal year if we continue to do our community events, collaborate with our different departments. And we're trying to make it so that it's not just our big events to get lots of people, but quality events to be able to present. We're also working on going to all of our different departments this year to be able to promote more with City of Brownsville employees so they can advocate for our library and what we do as well. Once, twice sold. Once, twice sold. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Next is the Friends of the Library report.
We've had a little bit of slowdown on traffic, but still remain steady. We've got money built up, so once demand or a question that they have an event for, and thanks to Angelique's Cafe, we appreciate every dollar counts. So, thank you.
I wish it was more, but
Oh, no.
another event, we'll keep adding to it.
Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Since updates.
So for our main branch library, just so you are aware, we are working on possible restroom renovations. We already have the contractor, but we're working out the logistics to it. We were able to start somewhere in late January, maybe February, but right now the goal is to keep the library open, but we're still trying to
Is
navigate.
there a possibility of getting those, I haven't seen them down here in the valley. But when we travel, we come across places that have the restroom being renovated. They do have these trailers.
Yeah. We are looking into those. That's like those they
Yeah,
have.
porta potties.
The porta pot, the fancy porta potties.
The fancy, yeah. Actually, we used to go to a restaurant. We had to use one of those restaurants. We actually preferred the trailers because they were nicer. It's like, yeah, okay.
But that's our big news for the main brand.
Hey, can they do something about
The open,
this
no doors and the smell.
and the smell? Yeah, because you walk in, I'm like, am I walking into the restroom or am I walking into the library?
Yeah, that's gonna be part of the plan.
Okay.
Yeah. so-
But the worst.
Yeah, but they estimate that the project in itself might last up to two months. So, yeah, so it's gonna be an overhaul, not only the restroom itself, but also dealing with the piping.
Yeah, 30 years, yeah.
Yeah, it needs it already.
And it was put together by the lowest bidder, so. Yeah,
There are no further questions. A motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
second.
Thank you all for joining and sending up.
Happy holidays.
Goodness.
Merry Christmas.